Welcome to Conversations with Colie, where we have conversations about subjects we think about but often don't speak about. My name is Nicole Miller, and I'm the author of this book series, A through Z, Guide to Raising a Good Human, a series I wrote to help in the communication process. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Colie. Today I'm talking to Sarah Ballard. Sarah is following her dreams and teaching abroad. She is going to share her experiences. Thank you, Sarah, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Nicole. I'm so excited.
I know. So for people who don't know, we met at a little place called Shenanigans. And I always thought you were the sweetest face in there.
No, I truly always thought, I was always so excited to work with you every time. So it was, I don't know, Shenanigans was such a fun place. I'm always so happy that I worked there and everyone that I got to meet and talk to there, because it was such a good, it was our own little family.
Yeah. And what I like too is all of y'all were talented in some way or just amazing human beings. So I feel very privileged that I met a lot of y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start with an icebreaker question. So in honor of the Queen's passing, if you were to have met the Queen face to face, what would be something that you would ask?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to think about this.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. The Queen's passing. What would I ask? What would I ask her?
Yeah. If she was alive and you got to meet her.
Oh, man. It's funny because I'm thinking the first question that pops in my head, it's kind of shallow, but I'm like, what's your favorite flavor of tea to drink?
There you go. No, I think it's great.
I'm sure she's always had to answer a lot of political questions. And I'm like, I think I would just want to know about her. What's her, in her own words, what's her story? But also what's her favorite kind of tea?
Yes. I like when they show her sense of humor and she likes the pranks that they do on, when they're doing interviews and the ribbings that they give each other, you know what I mean? So I love all that. Yes. I would ask her something probably really simple like that as well. So tell everybody about your background.
All right, in Virginia, moved to Florida for a few years, but solely my entire life was in Georgia. So Atlanta, ended up moving up to a small town in Pickens County, Georgia, in Jasper, Georgia, and lived there for most of my life, where I went to high school. I was a cross country runner and made a really good memories there. Just really did enjoy it. I don't think I appreciated North Georgia and specifically Pickens until now, when I do go back, or even in college. I would go, I think when you're in high school, you're just you can't wait to get out of your hometown. And now it's I really stop and look and I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. And then I ended up going to college in Dahlonega, Georgia, 30 minutes away from home, in at the University of North Georgia, and just had a really good experience there. I went in for nursing and then ended up changing my major a little bit into education. And it was one of those things where my mom had told me, oh, you need to be a teacher. You just need to be a teacher. And I was like, stop it. You don't know what you're talking about, Mom. And then one of those lessons, mother knows best. Because I just woke up one morning and I was still trying to figure out where, what to major in. And I truly just woke up and it was just okay, no, I need to be a teacher. I need to do this. And I went ahead, changed my major, and then did my first observation hours. And I was in a kindergarten classroom and I fell in love. I was just this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And so ever since then, I finished up my major. But what always stuck with me was my first ever education class. I had this amazing professor, and I feel bad because I cannot remember his name right now, but he just was telling our class, for his introduction, he had taught abroad in Japan. And he said, if there is one thing that you do in your life, it's to teach abroad. He said, you all need to go teach abroad. And I put that on my radar, like immediately. I was like, that is something that I want to do and I'm going to do. And then, life happens, and, I ended up thinking like, okay, I started teaching in Gwinnett County public schools, and I taught in a little elementary school for 3 years, and I learned so much. And, you start kind of working your way up the ladder, and like, well, maybe, I'll just keep growing my career. But it was never like this fulfillment for me. Like, I was always working towards something, which is so great. And I'm a very motivated person. Like, I love moving up, but I just was like, there was always something missing. And
Right.
I ended up like, events happened, COVID happened, and a lot of life changes, and a lot of like, just like a journey of growth for me, honestly. Like, COVID did bring me a lot of growth because I did have a lot of time to like, start, let's see, what am I going for here? Yes. Like, kind of starting to like, reflect, and just like, really, I was such a codependent person then. And I was just had no self-confidence, and I was just really at like a low point in my life. So I really started reflecting and like really working on myself, and started therapy. Like, it was so great. And so, that year with COVID, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give myself one more year to just teach in the States, and then I'm going to go teach abroad. And it was one of those things, again, that I was just like, working on myself. I didn't want to just like flee the country just yet randomly without a plan. So I began to go ahead and also, sorry, Nicole, was I supposed to go ahead and go into this? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. I just kind of scan my questions, and so you take it wherever you want to take it.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay.
And when I get a question, I'll kind of butt in.
Sounds like a plan. All right. So yeah, ended up was going to teach abroad after, a year. And I was talking to my mom, and we were just like, we were actually in Virginia for my cousin's wedding. And she was like, is this something that you want to do? Is this something you still want to do, teaching abroad? And I was like, I don't know, like, I'm working up the totem pole, and even though I had plans, I was like, I'm going to teach abroad. I was like, I'm comfortable where I'm at. And I think that's always been the issue for me, is I love to be where I'm comfortable. Yeah. So I'm really made some goals for myself to like, I needed to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I truly am kind of a homebody. So it was time. But my mom just said something to me where she was just like, yeah, you need to, like, why are you teaching, in this school now? Like, yes, you love it. Yes, you can work up the totem pole, but why don't you go do this abroad, and have a different view? You're doing pretty much the same thing you'd be doing now, but you get to experience a whole new culture. You get to be somewhere else. Like, why not? And it was kind of one of those crazy things, because then 3 days later, truly, I was like, okay, I'm going to start thinking about this. 3 days later, I just, like, my friend Becca, who I ended up moving to Thailand with, she had been in Thailand for 4 years already, or sorry, then 3 years, but she's there for 3 years. And she reached out to me with a link to her school, and she said, hey girl, my school is my school is hiring. Yeah. You need to apply. And I said, okay. And I just started the process, and it honestly, first, I think it's so intimidating to even begin to move abroad, teach abroad, anything, but it was so effortless. Like, I went through the interview process, like I went through 2 interview processes, one with the elementary school, the new elementary principal that was coming into that position. So I had those 2 amazing women, and then the headmaster, the awesome. Oh, wow. So or head of schools. So it was really great to get to like see them on Zoom. It was kind of crazy, but then they offered me the job in January. So what went from October, where I was just thinking about it, and that really great conversation with my mom, Martha, like, it was truly just like supposed to happen. Like, boom. Just took off. Yeah, it just took off. All of a sudden I was selling all my things, and then I got to Thailand, and then now I've been in Thailand for now a year, which has been in Bangkok. So it's been amazing. Yes. Yeah. And I've been following your stuff, seeing the beauty of Thailand, which I want to talk about a little bit too. But so what did it take for you to
drop everything here and move abroad? Because some people can't even move across a county line, state line. Imagine across an ocean.
So for me, I think it was like my life was already pretty much planned out, especially once I got out of college. I was in a relationship that ended up like it did not work out, and which was perfectly okay. So I think it was just was perfectly okay with giving up my dream of teaching abroad. Like I was like, this is just something that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up, I think it took that relationship, not just the relationship ending, but I really did take a year, because after the relationship ended, I was like, I'm ready to go flee the country, and I'm ready to go. But it was like COVID happened, and I really had to sit at home and just let myself process, let myself heal. And then I just really started taking like this, like really just this journey of just this self-growth and self-love that I never had truly given myself. And I think it took that, like, okay, now this is actually something that can happen, but I knew before I just left, like I needed to do a lot of work in myself. Just find that confidence and find that self like love that I had been missing. So it was kind of one of those things that realization that, wow, I can do this. And I really, I was by myself, and I was just like, okay, like I'm going to make this happen. And it just kind of, once Becca came in with the text, it was like it was almost like it was made for me. Like truly kind of like, wow, I was like, this is like, I was like, okay, God, like I hear you. I see.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Like, I was like truly just thinking that, this is definitely meant to be. And this is the path that I need to take. Like, this is where my life is leading, and I need to take it, because if I don't take it, I knew I was going to regret it. And it was scary. Like, it was scary because I had made so many friendships. I was in such a good place. I was, meeting all these new people and just like cultivating all these friendships, and having like girls trips, and just, kind of enjoying what we could enjoy with COVID. I just really, I had made all these friendships, and, even my best friend and I worked in the same school together. And, it was really hard to, like, in my family, my family's kind of scattered all over the place in the States, but, it was hard to be like, oh, I'm leaving my family, I'm leaving my friends. But it was something that I was just like, I need to start. I'm such a people pleaser. That's what people call me, people pleaser. I think you probably saw that at Shenanigans a little bit, but I'm such a people pleaser, and I tend to put others always before myself.
I'm the same way, I think. I am the same way too.
It's like, you can't help it, because it's like, we have so much love. There's so much love to give.
Yeah. And it feels like, good to make people happy, but sometimes it's at our own expense.
Absolutely, truly. Like I think that was too a lot of my self growth, like that whole like journey with finding myself was truly like, I need to make a decision for myself, because I've always let others make decisions for me. That was such a thing that I always did. I never, and I'm so indecisive already. So it was easy to make people make decisions for me. And this was something that no one can make this decision for me. I had to do this. So it was really, it was one of those things that it was terrifying, and like selling all of my stuff, and, getting organized and moving out of Atlanta. Like, it was honestly crazy, but I think it just took that work and that dream that had already cultivated from my first education course in college. Like, I think that it was just all came together, and it just kind of fell in my lap. And I think just having the opportunity, I had to take it.
Yeah. So you're all packed up, you're getting on the plane, you're on the plane. What is going through your mind? What are you feeling as you're getting closer to Thailand? Because what is it, like a 21-hour flight or something?
Yes. Oh gosh. So
I pulled that out of my ass. Oh, I'm good.
No, you did great. I'm like, yeah, no, it's like a 21. And then we always fly in, you'll always fly into either like, depending. So pretty much it's Atlanta, I think, is like literally, it truly, like when people are like, oh, you moved like halfway across the world, like truly I moved like halfway across the world. Like, it truly is like, like right on the other side. But yeah, so on the plane, I think getting closer and closer, and I was already I was so tired. So one of my colleagues who ended up also getting a job at the same school that I'm at, she was also living in Atlanta. So we actually flew together. Our
Oh,
school
how
got us plane
great.
tickets. So we were able to fly together. And then another one of my coworkers, she also, we had a layover in Doha, Qatar, and she met us there. So our school kind of like made it perfect. And then we were all on the same flight to Thailand. So it was kind of nice because we could all enjoy that time. So I definitely was like, of course, like really tired. This was actually my first international flight ever. So, and I love to fly on planes. Like that's always one of my favorite things to do. My mom was a flight attendant. And so I've just always like have had her love of flying. So I was really excited to be on an airplane for that long. But I think it was like, getting on the plane and just, getting closer and closer and closer. I think I didn't let myself truly believe that I was moving to Thailand, even after the work that it took, until we started landing. Like I was like, please, Lord, do not let this plane crash on the way down. I was like, I need to make it to Thailand. I let myself believe it. Like even on the plane, I had my grandma had sent me like these Thailand books. I truly just I wouldn't let myself truly believe it. And then I landed and, I think it made it really bittersweet because I had to do the first 2-week quarantine. So I think too, I was so excited and ready to explore, but my first experience in Thailand was the Maple Hotel in Thailand. The Maple Hotel in Bangkok. And, but I think it made me appreciate being in the 2 weeks, like getting over the jet lag and just kind of resting, finishing up my semester, like one of my semesters of grad school. So I was nice and busy. So, and it made me like excited to get out and explore. But, I did learn though that there were way nicer hotels to stay in, and that we can go into that later. But I had an experience, 15 days in a hotel where you couldn't, I did not get to leave that room unless it was for 2 of the COVID tests. So, and my balcony overlooked, like the building was almost like a upside down, like a U. Mm-hmm. And so I was just literally, I didn't have a view. I just had a view of all the other rooms across from me.
Oh no.
So, all like just, looking at each other because we're all quarantined there. But it was quite an experience. But I think it made me really appreciate when I got out and like really getting to explore Thailand, because also when I was in quarantine, Thailand shut down because they had done really well with COVID. And then it was like, once America was starting to kind of get out of it and open things up again just a little bit, Thailand shut down. So I was halfway through my quarantine and Thailand really was like, well, COVID's getting more running more rampant here. We're going to need to shut down. So,
so you went through 2 shutdowns.
Yeah. So I had my 2-week quarantine that I was like, well, great. I just did this 2-week quarantine and I am going out into the world, and everything was like food delivery. It was like just what we were experiencing in the States, like food delivery, truly, I am just now finally experiencing Bangkok traffic because it was so quiet. Like truly, it was so quiet, and now it's like alive and running rampant. And now I'm like, seeing all these tourists, which is kind of weird because, for me, it was just kind of me walking around for a little bit and like any of my other expat friends. But now I'm seeing tourists everywhere now. And it actually is really great to see that again.
It's kind of cool that they shut down because you were able to enjoy Thailand with all the noise.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it was really nice. And I ended up I moved in with my friend, Becca, who had already been in Thailand. And so we were now coworkers, and we met in college. So we were both education majors, and we had always stayed in touch, and I just reached out. We'd reach out every now and then and talk. And she was just I was watching her on Instagram, just living her best life in Thailand. And I was like, I want to do this. Like, I just felt it in my heart. I just was like, I need to make this happen. But so it was nice to get to experience living in a kind of a quiet city at that point. And really take the time to really like get my place set up. Like Becca had actually found this beautiful apartment. I mean, normally like the apartments here are very, very small, but this was like 2 units combined. And we had this very spacious place, and it was just beautiful and on quite a more of like a quiet street. Which are called soys here. So, and I was living kind of in like a, living in the city, which was also new because most of my coworkers, there's a lot of apartment complexes just right next to my school, but my school's out a little bit out of the city. So Becca had never lived in the city. She's like, will you live in the city with me? And I was like, absolutely. So yeah, it was nice to experience a quiet Thailand. It was nice to just be able to just take the time to get my place ready and just really, I think it truly like, it's like those blessing in disguise kind of thing. Where it let me just kind of get settled and take the time and like process, wow, I'm actually living here. But, I think there's only been one time and only recently that I felt homesick, that I have felt homesick being here because I kind of just got here and I was like, it was like, wow, like, I think this really is like, this is my new home. I'm like, I have 2 homes, I have home with my family and then I have my home in Bangkok and now my life is here pretty much. And now my cat is here. So I really have to stay.
Good. It's gorgeous. I can see how you can fall in love with it. And I move around a lot too. I've never been abroad and I want to go. But when you enter a place and it feels like home, you feel it deep and you don't have to be there very long.
Exactly. I mean, that was the thing. It just kind of, it cut in so quickly. Like, it was just like, whoa, like it's just been this constant thing where I feel like I was always kind of like questioning where I was at in my life. Like, I was just kind of like, is this where my life is supposed to be right now? But I feel like I have no questions being here. This is where I'm supposed to be. But I am thankful for those times in my life where I kind of was like, is this where I'm supposed to be? Because it led me to where I'm at now. So yeah, that's where I was supposed to be then. And I'm where I'm supposed to be now, but it's just nice to feel it. And and I love my school that I work for. Like, they're just absolutely amazing. And I think, I did enjoy my time working in Gwinnett County, and at my school, but working, I think, at more of like this, it's an international school, and just seeing like, I'm just really having a whole different experience with teaching.
So is it like a melting pot kind of, where you have so many different nationalities coming together?
Kind of, yeah. So we do have a majority are Thai students, and then we do have but we do have like a lot of like Indian families, Korean families, and then we do have a lot of we do have a lot of like, American kids, like staff kids. We have Australians, like.
Oh, wonderful. So yeah, it's very diverse.
Yeah, it's very diverse. Like, it is really nice, like, just to be able to see all the cultures coming together. My school does a lot of like international days where like, the kids dress up in their countries, like traditional clothing, which it's kind of hard for the US. I'm like, we're all like, the Americans were like, do we wear blue jeans? Like, what do we wear?
Cowboy boots.
I know, we're like, do we wear some cowboy boots, a cowboy hat? We're like, and everyone else has these beautiful, like, skirts and headpieces, and I mean, these beautiful sashes. I don't want to like butcher, this beautiful clothing, because I know I'm not saying it correctly, but I mean, oh my goodness, like, it's just stunning. And then all the Americans were like, all right, well,
I'm dressed.
We're dressed. I mean, I know, I was like, what is like our traditional, I think like, it is interesting though, because I think, America is like very diverse. So you already have like everyone coming together and, having the different ways of dress anyway. So I think but it is just amazing though, getting to see the kids, and, they're so proud, like bringing in, what they're wearing, or bringing in, and oh my goodness, these Thai families too are so sweet, because they'll just bring me like mango sticky rice randomly, or like,
oh my God,
Thai treats. Like, it's really neat because they really, they're just very loving. Like, Thailand is known too as like the land of smiles, and I mean, I totally see it. I feel it. Like,
you do belong there because you're a smiley person.
do love to smile.
Yes, that's
Thanks.
awesome. So what are the differences in the teaching style? Is there any differences?
So there are definitely, I feel like some, so I am at a school where it's American curriculum, and then I'm also teaching at a Christian school. So I also do just have like a 45-minute session where I teach about the Bible, which I'm teaching third graders, and they're so adorable. So, it's just like, we just talk about stories together, and, we'll sing together, and it's a lot of fun. But I think like the style is, and educators will understand this, but in Gwinnett County, we all had Lucy Calkins, which some of her stuff is great. Like, I enjoy her third grade curriculum. Her fourth grade curriculum, I was like, bye, Lucy. Like, see ya. Don't have to do you again. Don't have to see you again. And then I get to pre-planning, and I'm getting set up, and the school's teaching me, my school now is teaching me the curriculum that we're going to use, and out they pull Lucy Calkins, and I was like, oh.
She said, you thought I was gone.
I know. Lucy said, no, my curriculum is worldwide. She said, joke's on you, Sarah. But yeah, so they pull out Lucy, and I'm like, oh, but it is American curriculum, very, very similar to what I taught in the States. But I think it's just like, with it being like the American curriculum, I think it's like there's a lot of the parents are very involved, because it is like an international school. They're paying for their children to be there. So the parents are very involved. Like, these kids are literally, their schedules are full. Like, after school, most of these kids are going to tutoring, they're going to sports. They are all involved in like multiple things across the board. And I do like that, being in an elementary school, but also it's connected to the secondary school as well. I get to like be a part of like truly K through 12 versus in the States, I was just in an elementary school, and we didn't really have extracurricular activities. So now I get to be involved with that, which is amazing. But I think overall, like, the curriculum is the same, but it's just like I don't know, I just feel like everything is very like low key. There's not standardized testing. Like, the students just take what is called the MAP test twice a year. And it's truly like the kids aren't even given all the same questions. Like, it truly is just performance based. Like, if they get one question correct, they'll be given a harder question. If they get one like incorrect, they'll just kind of go down. Like, it's kind of just leveling them.
Right.
But it's, we're not worrying about, I'm not teaching to the test, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So as a teacher, do you feel that you have a little bit less pressure on you there in Thailand as opposed to the States?
Absolutely. I feel like there's definitely a lot of there's like the weight that I was feeling in the state teaching in the States, because it was so test heavy. I think I definitely do feel like way less pressure at my school now, because it's just like we're there, of course there's a very high expectation of teachers truly, like, these parents are truly paying for their kids to be there, and like, they're expecting, and my whole philosophy too is with teaching, whether it's public school or international private school, like, I'm going to give your child the best education that I possibly can, whether you're paying for it or whether it's free. Like, all students, like with equity. And, but yeah, it is, it's, the pressure is just insane. Like, I truly think just like, the weight of testing being off my plate, and just, I think it's like, there's just a really high trust too, where it's just like, we know what we're doing. And I think too, like, my admin comes in, and they'll just always have something like like, they'll always like have these positives. Like, they'll just be like, wow, I loved coming into your classroom today, and I loved seeing, like, it's just all very
so
positive.
You're getting a lot of like, this, you're doing good, instead of this is where you're falling short, maybe.
Yes. And I think and I always did feel like in the States, like, I would put all my effort I could. And it was one of those things where it just, and, never bashing my old school or anything, but it just never enough. It was never enough. And it was just exhausting. Like, my team and I would work like these we were exhausted working these long hours trying to like, and we could never be caught up. Like, I think too, like, and I even was kind of chuckling last semester with, I'm finishing up the school year, and, my school is like, oh yeah, end of the year checklist, like, and coworkers are asking me and my instructional coach is like, I know the checklist is a little lengthy. Let me know if you need any help with anything. So in Gwinnett County, our end of this school year checklists were truly like 2 pages, like front and back. I mean, so like 4 pages long of things that we needed to make sure we're done. And I click on this checklist and it's literally like 6 things. And I'm like, whoa, like this is amazing. I think my school's really good about truly spreading things out. They're not putting all these deadlines on the same day. Like they give me time. Oh my goodness. And I can't even believe I haven't even shared this yet. I have planning time, like real planning time where I'm not in meetings. I get like 2 45-minute planning periods a day. And it's just
so way less stress. And it's not just Gwinnett County. It's a lot of teachers in a lot of states and a lot of counties.
Yeah,
feel the same way. And I think if the teachers are less stressed, your kids are less stressed, right? You're having more fun at your job. You're enjoying it. Do you enjoy now going to work every day? Like, woohoo, going to school.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love waking up. I love getting to school in the mornings. And I feel like because I have that time, I can come home and some nights, of course, as a teacher, you do bring work home. But I have all this time where my stuff truly can get done at school during my planning time. And I just feel like, I'm not worried about, I have to do this or this or this or this. Like I truly can really continue like connecting with my students and like pulling them. And I only have 16 students this year too. So that is like, I'm so used to having 27 back in the States, even with COVID, I had like 27 students in one classroom and, it's just been amazing because it is like smaller class sizes and just like given the time that I'm really able to take this time to really bond with them and really give them to like that one-on-one instruction if needed. Like if I see, one student maybe not grasping something, I can pull them immediately. Like there's just so much time.
Well, and you can focus on everybody and kind of get to know them as individuals.
Absolutely.
It sounds to me like teaching in Thailand was what it was like for me in my little tiny school in Necedah, Wisconsin. I tell a lot of people when I was little, I don't know, I used to think I'm getting a shitty education because I'm in Necedah and I've got a graduating class at 26. I'm getting a shitty education. Come to find out, I grew up in the right time, in the right place, and it got a beautiful education. And it sounds like you're able to give these beautiful educations to your students there. I'm thinking in the States, I see from what I hear from teachers and see myself with my kids, there's too much pressure. There's no connecting a lot of times. You know what I mean? It's just not there.
Absolutely.
Can that be changed, do you think?
I definitely think it could be changed. I think, the weight, the pressure that teachers have, and I see this all the time, just teachers leaving the fields, like my friends, like they're trying to find other careers. Yeah. They're like, and I'm on a lot of like teacher groups on Facebook, and I see people all the time. They're like, this job opportunity came up. I was going to finish out the school year, but should I just go ahead and break my contract? I mean, it's one of those things, it is that intense, and it kind of is that bad because we feel like, and I mean, I don't want to speak for every teacher, of course, but I know the groups that I'm in and the teachers that do feel stressed, like it really is hard and it really is so stressful. And it was really like, it was like sucking the life out of me too. Like, I feel like that's all I could talk about was teaching. Like I couldn't wind down at the end of the day. My first year teaching, I truly and I also started to seeing like a lot of mental health issues start to arise with me, like more so like anxiety, depression, just because I was literally in overdrive all the time.
Too much on your plate.
Yeah, couldn't catch up. Like
no downtime.
Yes, not at all.
I see you in Thailand. You got downtime, girl, and you got beautiful downtime.
Oh yeah, beautiful downtime. My coworkers were cracking up because I was like, I'm just gonna go take a little weekend trip to an island. It's like it sounds unreal. And my friends are always like, and to me now it's like kind of my new normal. So I never like it's bragging or anything, but I'll tell my friends. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to an island, like no big deal. They're like, oh, I'm looking at my living room wall right now.
Yeah. Look at what I see. And I've seen gorgeous. That's got to be de-stressing in itself.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Just the fact that like I have this time to take to go, on trips. Like I have so many trips planned, and I'm planning on, even like a friend asked me if I wanted to just go on a weekend trip in the next 2 weeks, on a weekend trip to Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. Like I was like, oh, sure. Yeah. Like because it's an
Yes.
hour flight away and it's so cheap. The cost of living here is very affordable and cheap. Like I
I
pay.
was just about to ask you. So, what is the difference in the cost of living there?
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is my favorite part. This is one of my favorite parts is what I paid for in Atlanta, I mean truly it was like $1,200 a month. And now I mean rent is going absolutely. I mean inflation. The same apartment that I lived in, my friend had lived in a 1 bedroom by herself, and it was $1,500 a month. And then they were like, "Oh, hey, it's time to renew your lease. It's now $2,000 a month." And she said, "Oh, I'm moving out." Okay.
Yeah.
See, I mean, and that's literally, I mean, that would have been 2/3 of my paycheck. I mean, that's insane. But here I'm making about the same in my school, what I would have made, what I was making in Gwinnett County. And my apartment, every month is $350.
And it's beautiful from what I can see.
It's beautiful. Yes, it is like very, I have to get some more artwork, but like, it is beautiful. I have a view of the city. Like it is really pretty. I'm on the 16th floor. It's, and it's beautiful, and it's like a little condominium, and it's small, but like honestly, I really enjoy living in a small space, and this is my first time living by myself too. Now, so.
And I think in the States, we focus on that keep up with the Joneses. I got to have the big house, the nice car, the this.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Totally in the States. Like that's what some friends and I were talking about recently too. It's almost very materialistic, back in the States. And, and I think everyone just gets into this like, cycle of just, not everyone necessarily, but, so many people get into that cycle of how can I have the next best thing, but never be fully fulfilled, because I fell into that cycle many times. I was like, oh, maybe if I buy this, I'll be happy.
Yeah. And it does. It triggers some serotonin. Retail therapy is what I used to call it. I think it's bunk now. It's just consuming way too much and having too much crap. But it would give you that little dopamine hit. And then you end up feeling like shit because you get your credit card bill. And you're like, oh shit.
I know. Even when I was at home for the summer, and I have like access to really good skincare here too. Like, you have a whole line of like Korean skincare, just you can pick at your beck and call, and Asian skincare truly is amazing. But even when I came home and I was like told my mom, I was like, I need to go to Ulta because I do have these staple products. And I looked at her and I was like, don't judge what you're about to see. And I like, my basket was so full, and I fell into like this, like, I bought so much stuff, and then I was like, got that credit card bill, and I was like, oh man, I was like, that really wasn't even that smart, because I even just picked up new products that I wanted to try, but like really, like, I was like, I could have easily gotten that here, I'm like, but yeah, I think and here it's like truly like I can spend my money on experiences, and like just, even just walking around Bangkok, like I think Bangkok kind of gets a bad rep sometimes for travelers, because they'll come in, they'll stay for 2 nights, and then they go to the islands, or they go up north to Chiang Mai, and truly like beautiful places to go. And I think it is hard because Bangkok is very busy. There's a lot of people, and it is like it's a spread out.
Lot, probably a lot to take in, and people go, whoa, I don't want to even take this on.
Absolutely. And it's like one of those things, like it's a spread out New York City, and you have to find those places, and it does take a while, but I think it's like one of those things that so many travelers are like, I don't like it. I don't like Bangkok at all. And I'm like, I promise you, Bangkok is amazing. Like I've lived here for a year, and I feel like I've barely touched a corner of it, because there is just so many amazing things to do and see. I mean, that's truly. Awesome.
That's
so
awesome.
Even, do a staycation, but yeah, but the traveling is definitely the best part, because I'm doing 2 things that I truly love. I'm teaching, and I also have the time now and the funds to go travel around the world. So it's amazing.
Yes. Okay. And so the other thing I saw was you post a lot about the food you buy and the price. Okay. The food you buy is beautiful food. It is what food, I remember food being when I was younger before all the manufacture and all the poison and all the bullshit.
It is.
It's beautiful food. Can you taste the difference? Does it make your body feel better? And let's talk about how low cost.
Oh my goodness, yes. The food here is just phenomenal. And, it's one of those things like, I mean, groceries are so expensive in the States too, but, here I can just go to a market and I can get, I was making like this Thai dish and, my own little like Thai rice noodle dish. And I mean, I bought eggs for 40 baht, like 12 eggs for 40 baht. And literally, I mean, that's like $1. Like that's like literally just about $1.
Yeah.
Which is kind of normal. But I mean, all the produce, all the vegetables that I bought, I bought like cabbage, like a big thing of cabbage and just beautiful vegetables. I bought like green onion. I bought like carrots, and the carrots are massive, but
they're huge.
They're massive. I'm like, is this normal? But like so good and they're so fresh. But I mean, I got so many vegetables and for $3. All this fresh produce. And I was like, oh my goodness, this would have cost me so much in the States. And that's the thing. I have access to all these markets. Like there are grocery stores here and they are they kind of are more pricey because you're going to see more of those like everything's more so imported.
Yeah.
But you go to those markets and I mean, you are saving so much money. I mean, truly, like I feel like, okay, my groceries are already done for the week. I mean, and the food is just so good here. I feel like everything is just just fresh. They're not putting the crap in everything. Like it's really easy to get like really just wholesome, good food. Like I have friends who are have had to be gluten-free in the States. They can have the bread here. The bread is, they don't have any gluten issues with the bread here, which says a lot. There's a lot of weight in that. But yeah, like there's so many things. And I mean, truly the cuisine, the street food is top notch. And like, I know a lot of people ask me about, oh, are you going to get food poisoning? Or, oh, I don't know about the street food, but pretty much I don't know if this is fact, but I do know that I've been told this from multiple sources though, but like a lot of the food is already like boiled before it's like fully cooked. So
yeah,
there's not really much of like the food poisoning in a way. Like I feel like you just get really good food, just like honestly, like for $2, and a lot of the families here, especially from the States, they're feeding their kids. They're like, we just like literally ate and like this big dinner, this big meal, and they were like, it was like $4 to feed our whole family, and it's like a healthy dinner, like it's just really nice, really good food. And
so what do you think is the difference between there and here? Is it because they grow it there and they feed their population?
I think so. Like, I definitely know. I think a lot of the things, what I'm finding since I left the States is a lot of the crap that the States puts in the food is illegal pretty much everywhere else in the world. I mean, I'm like,
of course it is.
Isn't that insane? Like, I've been learning, like, like
when I saw that food, I said, I'm moving to Thailand just so I can be healthy.
Yes, truly, like, that's the thing in the States. It is so expensive to be healthy.
Yeah, and here we're paying expensive prices to be poisoned.
Oh, expensive prices to be poisoned. I even saw this TikTok of this hilarious man that was just talking about, he was like, wow, I make $8 an hour and this bag of grapes is $8. He's like, so an hour of my time will purchase me one bag of grapes. And I was like, and he made it like funny, but really I was like,
it was sobering.
That is horrible. Like, and, and the thing is, like, there's so much crap that is going onto our vegetables, into our, like, honestly, into everything. And then they're jacking up the prices for poison, like you said. But then, it is easy for families to, especially in the economy today, if you're a family and you need to feed your children, I would be probably taking my children to McDonald's and getting that $1, that $1 value meal for my family. Because, I mean, it's, the thing is, it's the economy.
And if you have the app, I fed myself, my daughter, my son for $9 with the app.
Exactly. And exactly. And that's the thing, like, it is so expensive, like housing. I mean, it's like already
Okay.
everything's going up, in price, but not our no salaries are going up. The salaries are not matching up to the inflation. Like I'm like,
Exactly. And eating that healthier food, do you feel your body moves and functions more efficiently and you are more full with the healthier options?
yes, absolutely. I definitely do feel like I just feel very like clean and healthy. And even if I'm eating out, which sometimes like it does happen, like I order out a decent amount, but even the fast food restaurants, I don't feel like crap after I eat here. And like, I think I just always feel, and I don't know what it is. I forgot to say this too, but the fruit here, they have this fresh cut fruit. Like I can get like a bag of pineapple for like less than $1. It is the most, I've always loved pineapple, but the pineapple here, out of this world, incredible. My friends don't even like pineapple, love it. Like the fruit here is just so good, so fresh. And like that, it's just it's easily accessible. And I just feel so good because I'm able to afford to put all these healthy things into my body. And
Yeah.
absolutely, I definitely feel a difference.
So listening to your numbers, you've got your rent for $350. You spend $12 on groceries. How long does it feed you?
So it'll last me about a week to 2 weeks, truly, because I'll get like stuff for smoothies. I'll
Girl,
get
you ain't even at $400. I can't go into Walmart and leave for less than 100.
Oh, I remember that. Yes. Like, yeah, it's truly, I mean, with groceries and everything. And I mean, too, if I buy coffee products, I mean, even like a box of like coffee pods are like, still like $10, but I mean, they last. And,
Yeah.
it is like, like some of the groceries, like the long-term pantry stuff, like I'll kind of come close to, like when I first came back to Thailand, I did spend about $100 on groceries, but I got so much. I mean, my counter and my table were full of stuff because
Yeah.
it's like, and it was stuff that was going to last for a while. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
and then I just go every week, get the fresh produce, and then I can use all the stuff that I have already to make
Yeah.
whatever I would like to make. So, which is just awesome. And I mean, that's the thing. And even electricity is cheap, water is cheap. I mean, truly, I had like a bill that had like, since I was out of the state, they put your electric bill in your mailbox and you have to pay, like, you have to scan it to pay it. So I didn't have access to it over the summer. So I had like 4 months of electricity on one bill, and they were okay with that. Like finally they were like, hey, are you coming back? Like we're gonna have to shut this down. And I was like, no, I'll pay it. But I mean, even then it was only about, let's see, it was 2,500 baht. So I mean, even then it was, or honestly, it was only around like 2,000 baht. So I mean, only like maybe $150 for 4 months of electricity. Like
What the hell? No way. That's like a month with me sitting in the dark in my house. What?
Yeah, I know. And it's ironic that I moved to a hot place because I love being cold. So I like here, like, I mean, I'm consistently running my air con here. Like truly my air is always running when I'm home. And then I turn it off the day, of course, when I'm gone. But yeah, it's like, and water, I mean, water is literally like when my roommate and I were splitting it, I mean, it was like $2. Like, I mean, just ridiculous.
And here, if I'm cleaning a house, sometimes I get the dirty looks from the people. If I'm running the water too much, they're like, I'm paying for that.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think the water bill, because again, I had one that had like same thing. It had built up over the months, but it was like 400 baht, which again is like a little bit over like, well, let's see, 400 baht, like 300 baht is like $10. So it was like $15 now, like for months of it building up, like ridiculous. I'm like, what? I know. When I moved here, I was like, is this real life? And I was like, wow, always like, oh, 300 baht, this is like $10, doing the math in my head. But now I see something for 300 baht and I'm like, what? 300 baht? I'm like, I have become so cheap. It is ridiculous. And I'm like, literally in the grand scheme of things, it's like, but I'm truly trying to even like penny pinch a little here and there now too.
But it's good. That's good. Set yourself up for when you're older. God.
Yeah. No, like I have got to, there's so much, but yeah, it truly is with the bills here. I mean, it really does make it like stress it takes the stress off. Like I'm able to send money home every month, you know, and on top of that, have money to go like explore, to travel, to go, you know, go on outings with my friends. Like if we go to a restaurant or, you know, like it's just really easy. And transportation is so cheap here. So
yeah.
don't even get me started on gas because it's like to fill up my motorbike once a week, which lately I haven't even been taking it in because we are in rainy season. So, I mean, I think I haven't filled up in like 3 weeks now, but truly it's 100 baht, which is like $4, like about 50. Yeah, to fill up my little gas tank. Like that's like literally a gallon of gas in the States is like 350.
Yes.
But I mean, my bike doesn't hold much, but I mean, even when I see them filling up cars, it's not that much, you know?
Right.
So the cost of living is wonderful.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about how they feed their children in the schools. What's the difference?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So the elementary is buffet style Thai dishes. I mean, every day it's like a Thai dish, or sometimes they'll put in like, you know, like some pizza or something, but very healthy, like a salad bar. And I don't know how much they charge the children, but the parents will pay for a meal plan. But I mean, they always have rice, like white rice. Then they'll have like a curry or a protein, a meat, and they're always switching it up. This beautiful salad bar. And then they always have like a noodle dish where they'll do like either khao soy or they'll do like pho, like all like just those amazing like soba noodles. I mean, so the kids have so much, and they can go back for seconds, thirds, fourths, whatever they want. And they always have fresh fruit. Like, and so the teachers, we're jumping on that too, because it's 50 baht per meal, which is $2. I mean, truly $2 to get all you can eat, and it's healthy and it tastes really good. I mean, I'm like looking at some of these kids, like and I'm like, what? You know, like I'm thinking of my school lunch. Like school lunch wasn't horrible necessarily. Like I didn't mind it as a kid, but you know, like when I'm looking at it, but you know, it's just school lunch. You just kind of got used to it.
McKenna and Genesis told me that for salad bar, as croutons, they chop up grilled cheese in small pieces and they put it on a salad bar. That's nasty.
That's disgusting. That's just sad. I'm like,
yes,
croutons at that point. Just skip the croutons then. If you don't have the croutons.
Yeah. McKenna's like, they don't even have freaking croutons. And I go, why? All you do is take up crusty bread. You don't have to put cheese in it.
Exactly.
Just crusty bread, and you can season it all you want. I could go show them. And she goes, no, they chop up grilled cheese. I thought she was lying. No, she's not lying.
It's like, yeah, I just remember the school lunch, you know, you do get used to it, but it's school lunch. Like, it's still like, you know, the pizza.
And do they run out of food when they're feeding the kids as the lines are coming in and you get thirds, fourths?
Not at all. It literally looks like a catering company. Like they just have carts and carts of food coming in. Like truly, it's like this beautiful buffet style where they're just consistently, if they start running low, they have another pot to place it. Like I've never seen them where they're like running out of things. Like
okay, so my daughter has fourth lunch.
Oh.
They had nachos. She got tortillas and peanut butter. They ran out of food.
I remember that happening in the States. Like I would always get like spicy chicken sandwiches and they would run out, and they would always or just nachos, but sometimes it'd be like, okay, you just get chips. And I'm like, but chips and peanut butter? That's ridiculous.
Yeah. McKenna's like, my blood sugar's low, Mom, because all I had was chips and peanut butter for lunch. I go, what? What the?
That's just absolutely and it's just sad too, because a lot of these students as well, some students, that's their only meal that they get for the day.
Yes.
You know, that's the only meal. So you know, a lot of schools, you know, a lot of these schools, they rely on breakfast. They rely, these students, they rely on breakfast. They rely on this lunch. And then when you have fourth lunch and you don't get food, and not even a really good, healthy, nutritious meal.
That sticks in your belly.
Butter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just going to sit there and you're not going to feel full. You're not going to feel satisfied. And two, especially in high school, and I mean, all through the schools, you're growing, kids need these nutrients. So it's just so sad. And it's you know, the school knows how many students they need to prepare food for. You know, and
I wanted to go in there, girl. I tell you what, I can take $10 and feed 8 people with $10.
Absolutely, exactly. like a real, and it just
real
like,
meal.
and that's the thing, a real meal. And even like with kids, I've even seen a thing recently just up with like kids who, you know, if their parents haven't paid their bill, you know, like the bill, and they're in debt, like I think it's like $20 or something. Once you're like $20 under, you don't get like school lunch, you get like a peanut butter and jelly or something like that. But
an ultimate lunch, and there's air quotes.
Yes.
Ultimate lunch, which is peanut butter jelly and all that.
Yeah. And it's like a horrible, like crusty thing. But I almost feel like they're like shaming kids who owe money. And I'm just like, okay, well, their parents are paying for it and you don't know their income situation at home. Like, but put it on the child, like be like, oh, you haven't paid your lunch fine, so here's a crusty peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like don't shame. That's traumatizing for the child.
Yes, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. And we don't know what the parents are going through. We don't know the income situation.
Why not give them the lunch, not make a big deal about it, and then privately go call the parent instead of calling out the child?
Exactly. And my whole thing is like, you're going to throw all of that out anyways. Like you're going to throw all of that food that you made is going in the trash unless you're reusing it, which I really hope not. But
oh God, I hope not. But yeah, I don't doubt it. We have the pink slime and the meat and all this. So what is the difference with waste, now that you brought that up, there in Thailand as compared to the States?
So I know a lot of places, like I think they are really good about like reusing, like really like kind of like reusing things. Recycling actually though is now just becoming a thing here, kind of like I think there's now a new movement with really trying to recycle more, because I first got here and I couldn't find any recycling bins, and now I think there's more of a push for recycling. But with waste itself, I mean, there definitely is like, I think there's still a lot of waste, but I feel like there is a good, like, it's kind of almost kind of like a good balance, at least from what I've seen, where, you know, like I know restaurants or like even like well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I take that back, because I think it is like half and half, but there are places like, you know, if like these street vendors, if they don't sell their meat like that day, or they, you know, they throw it out because they're like, well, you know, we've been sitting outside with it, you know, so
they should give it to the homeless.
Yeah, I know. And that's, I need to actually do some research on that and see like what happens with, because there are, I mean, it's in a city, so I do see homeless people, not as much as I see in Atlanta, but I do see people sleeping out on the streets and just like, you know, wanting just, you know, even just a meal, and, you know, like, but yeah, I think the waste, I actually do need to do more research on that, but I know that definitely the recycling, they're starting to try to recycle, and I need to see what they do with food, because this is so Thailand is mainly Buddhist, so it's all about karma. Yeah. And just it's very much so like people are always taking care of one another. It's what I've learned about the Eastern, you know, versus Western culture. You know, the Eastern culture, I mean, it's so community. It's all about community. It's not this money hungry. People are taking care of one another, and I mean,
and they take care of their ancestors even after they pass. They honor them, and there's a whole I love that culture. I think I want to move where you're at.
Please come on over.
Coming.
Islands.
Yes.
The kids, bring everyone. Let's go.
Yes, and it sounds like I could afford it.
Truly, you could afford it. The plane tickets are ridiculous, but that's the thing. I always tell people, I'm like, okay, you get the plane ticket, and that's the most expensive thing. I mean, I literally booked, and we can even talk about resorts too, but I mean, the amount of money that I pay for even just to stay in a nice resort is insane, like insanely cheap. Like, I literally booked a room the other day, like very last minute. This place, and there's a lot of like those like last minute like deals that you can get, because I was trying to go to this one island. I missed the ferry, so I had to stay in Ao Nang in Krabi. And I just quickly booked this resort that's normally like $100 a night, like a little bit over $100 a night, came with breakfast and everything. But I got it for a last minute deal for $20. And it was like a single room. And then I got there, and they're so nice. The guy at the desk was like, oh, like I saw that you put online that you wanted like a larger bed. He's like, actually the room that you had, that you booked, we only have like small beds available. He's like, I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade you to a deluxe room. So I had like this beautiful balcony, this king size bed, this massive room for one night, and it was $20. Like, nice. And free breakfast. Yeah,
And it's a real breakfast. It's not some dehydrated egg crap. Because I watched that show with the two brothers where one goes on the cheap and one goes on the expensive. Do you watch that show?
No, but I need to watch that.
Yeah, I think it's on Vice. I will message you. I'll find it and I'll message you. You have to see it. They go to the same place and one has money and one has a cheap budget. But the breakfast that they get on the cheap budget, I'm like, shit, that's better than what we get in the States for $15.99.
Truly, exactly. I mean, truly, like they always just like they're so good about having fruit, vegetables. They'll make like you'll watch them make the fried eggs, and like what I've learned about Thailand too. I have had to learn about the oils that they do cook things in, and the MSG is very high. Like at first when I was eating pad thai for almost like every meal, come to find out pad thai is actually not healthy at all. A healthy meal in Thailand is the pad thai, but because it's so like just there's so much fat in it, but it's the oils. So you do have to be careful with like the oils that they cook things in, and then the MSG. But other than that, like I mean, that's like the only problem I feel like with going back into the food. But I mean, yeah.
Holy crap. So what about the air quality?
So the air quality is not good.
Not
we do have a season. Yeah, we do have a season where we do have to, like, our school provides us with air purifiers that we have to have on in our classroom, because once we start hitting December, like the air index, like the air quality just goes way down. So definitely air pollution, especially now that traffic is becoming a thing again too, where there's just more cars, more buses out. Like, the air quality is not that great. Like, I mean, I'll be on my motorbike and I go behind the buses or cars and black smoke just goes like all over me.
Yes.
And I used to get sick at first. Whenever I would breathe in that air, like my stomach would hurt for hours afterwards. But yeah, the air quality, especially once it gets really poor, because a lot of like the rice fields in like the cooler months are being like, I guess like they're burning the rice fields to get them set up again and all that, but all that air is just like sweeping over, and with all the traffic and everything, and there's not a system where it doesn't matter, like how we have to go and get our cars checked,
emissions.
What's that called?
Yep.
Emissions. Yes, emissions. Like we have to go get emissions done and everything, and that's not a thing. So you'll see the most beat up car, like that thing is, you're amazed that it's still on its wheels. Like it is like shaking, but they are getting to their destination. But I mean, you are seeing a trail of black smoke behind them, and I always like get a heart attack because I'm on my motorbike, and like these little motorbikes are like these, I mean, like dingiest little motorbikes, but I mean, they are zooming off and they're like backfiring, and like oh my goodness, like I'm like, oh, like, but yeah, the air quality is pretty poor. So you do have to wear like a mask. So masks were already kind of a thing before COVID here because of the air quality. They have like air filter masks. So yeah, the air gets pretty bad, especially, and oh my goodness, you can feel it. Like already it's hot and sticky, but when the air quality is horrible because you feel it on you. Like you just feel, so I am like profusely sweating, and it's just, you feel sticky. Like that is a negative for sure, because the air quality is like, it does get pretty bad. It's not terrible now, it's not terrible for most of the year, but really once we start hitting December up to like March or April, the air quality is terrible. So
you have an air quality issue.
Yes.
For like when we have hurricane season or whatever, or probably when we have calm time, but we have hurricane season and things like that. So what kind of weather related type things are there that you have to worry about? Is it same like hurricanes and stuff like that?
So I know there was like a tropical storm nearby recently, but I don't think we get as many hurricanes.
Sarah and I's conversation was cut short due to the lack of hotspot and the fact that we are, 21 hours away from each other. This episode started out to be a follow your dreams episode, and it quickly turned into a different conversation altogether. And that's what I love about not prompting these conversations and just kind of saying, hey, here's the subject line, and letting them flow. It started out as the follow your dreams, and it turned into economic differences from abroad to state, food differences abroad to state, how we feed our kids in our school system abroad to states. Our economic situation is vastly different. Our laws are vastly different as to what we will allow people to consume and just all that stuff. So it got into a lot deeper of a conversation than even I ever anticipated. And I'm happy that I can say we're going to do a part 2 in an upcoming episode, so stay tuned. If you like this and other episodes, please click subscribe, like, and share so others can enjoy them too. Thank you so much for listening.